Hello guys, I want to introduce to you something that you might never have heard of. It's called Haritaki, and it's a fruit from India. And the India is like India. The food is the fruit. The fruit is being processed into powder, and then being sold worldwide. And nowadays you can get it everywhere, and it's actually very, very, very powerful. It's the most powerful herb in Ayurveda, supposedly, and it's been used for thousands of years by the Romans and Greeks. And it does a bunch of things. So it heals your gut. So any kind of gut issues, if you keep continuously taking Haritaki, it will help you. It cleanses a lot of things. And it's supposed to also be a spiritual herb. So it does activate a bunch of energy centers and third eye. Apparently it cleanses also the third eye. So, and I've been using it for a long time. It's actually really, 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 really good when you feel like something is going on in your stomach or intestines or in your colon. Just take plenty of it, not too much, but enough so it gets all cleansed. It's basically like a detoxifier of your gut. And it supposedly even helps with toxins and some kind of residue in your body that it kind of like grabs it and takes it out. So if you've never heard of Haritaki, now you have. And get the organic version, for example, on Amazon. There are many companies who sell it organic on Amazon, and it's really, 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 really good. I've given it to many female clients that were in my sessions, and everybody came to me back very happy. I give you one example. For example, there was a woman in France who told me that her husband has a strange cough, and I said, well, Haritaki is known also for cough problems, but her husband is very allopathic interested, so he's more into doctors and science, and he doesn't believe in herbs, which is funny because most pharmaca is based on plants, so extracts from plants. So she took the pills that I gave her. I give her it as Triphala, but in Triphala is also Haritaki. So, and she took it herself because she read up on it on the internet, and she took it, and she came back to me and she was like, oh my god, completely cleared my constipation problem. I was like, fantastic. So I've never heard of a bad story about Haritaki, only good stories. And at least 5 of my female clients back then came to me and said, wow. One was even, I stopped drinking coffee. The other one said, I lost 5 kilograms in weight with Haritaki. So you see, it does a lot of interesting things. And you don't need to know Ayurveda, because Haritaki is one of the few, if not the only herb, that balances your doshas. You're kind of like the 3 doshas. I don't want to go too deep into that now. It balances it without having you to know your dosha type or in which situation you are in. So Haritaki basically works all the time. I believe from an Indian woman to have heard, she said take it to 2 to 3 weeks max, and then make a pause again, and then maybe 2 months later start again. She said don't use it all the time. So yeah, and I was thinking about it because I've started taking it now again for 3 days, and I'm going to take it for another 2 weeks. And for some reason my body tolerates it more now, so I can take a little bit more. And I have a small trick for everyone who hates the taste of it, because the taste is really something unique. Just put in a little bit of water with it, then stir it well, and drink it really fast. and then you will do like this, and then you immediately take a glass of water. You can already have it prepared if you like, and then you sip that and you drink it, and you're fine. Because in the beginning I made a huge mistake. I always put so much water in it with the Haritaki. Then I was like, oh no, another sip. Oh no, another sip. Oh no, another sip. But if you're really hardcore, you can do it like this. You take the powder, but this one is really hardcore. You take the powder, you put a little bit on your finger, and you start to rub it in your gums. Because in India it was also used for gum health, and teeth health. But the interesting thing about that is that it promotes a lot of saliva, and a saliva and the consistency and makeup of your saliva is hugely important to your health. And now I come to the last story, which is super interesting. I've heard many times that if you had a root canal, meaning a tooth has been excavated, like the nerve from the tooth has been excavated, but the tooth remains in the mouth, that oftentimes bacteria builds there. And this bacteria then is constantly newly produced, basically, and inflicts damage on the body elsewhere also, because the bacteria starts to travel. And it also affects the meridians, it affects the nadis. So there was a doctor who said that every cancer patient that he had a root canal which was infected by bacteria. And he was a pathologist, I remember. So he was looking at dead people, and he found out apparently. I don't know, nowadays it's hard to know what is true, what is not. But I'll tell you an interesting story. So I had some stomach pain, which I healed through tapping, but then at a certain moment many years later it came back, and it was about the same time as my tooth was aching, and it was a root canal tooth 20 years ago, so I was 27. And now I got the tooth removed in this beginning last year, around first half of last year, in Badajoz. I have a very good dentist there in Spain, and there was no apparent reason to remove the tooth. All X-rays, everything came back kind of like, except there was already indications that I'm losing bone around the tooth, so it was obvious there is some bacteria, but it took many X-rays before that was clear. And the doctor, with his experience, he said, we need to take it out. So we took out the tooth, and although it was not seen on the X-ray, it had a vertical fracture, which means the tooth cannot be saved and it needs to be taken out. So his expertise was absolutely crucial in this, and so the tooth got removed, and from that moment on I never had the stomach problem again. So it's an anecdotal evidence of how root canal teeth can create problems in the body. And it was obvious because the bacteria, the tooth when it was taken out was black, so at the root, so it was very clear what was going on there. So my advice is never ever leave root canaled teeth in your body. Even if you right now think there is no problem, it will eventually create a problem. It's just a question of time, and you will find out about it probably too late, in the sense like when it already should be taken out. So I was kind of lucky that it didn't get much worse. So so my advice is take the Haritaki, because it will help you spiritually grow. It's good for your health. There's nothing that's bad about it. And if you have a root canal tooth, let someone take out the tooth. What's funny is about the taking out the tooth, the procedure is very quick. You need to be careful about 2 weeks after, which is fine. it's annoying, but it's fine. And so, and if all your teeth are intact and you never want a root canal teeth, then I have another advice for you. Not only brush your teeth every single day, but here's something important which a lot of people miss, and I miss that too, is you have to floss. Meaning you have to use the kind of the cleansing between the teeth. That's exactly where my caries, where my cavity basically developed, because it was this exactly between the tooth, and I didn't floss back then. So the Haritaki is interesting because it's not only spiritual, but it's also health, body health, and I think when I thought today about what kind of video I could make that is very high vibration, I thought about Haritaki because so few people know about it and it's so powerful. And I think they closed it off here. Can I pass? Can I not pass? I will check. This looks, I cannot pass. Is there another way to go up? Yeah, it looks like they closed it off. Okay, I'll just go back. Yeah, and I wanted to make a video about myself a little bit. I'm going to do that in a separate video. Because a lot of people... Oh, before I forget. So, I ordered 1,000 business cards and also stickers for my van for Awakening Camp. And I was thinking about it more in detail because I noticed that people are generally interested in this kind of channel, and for some people it's strange when they hear it for the first time, so it's hard for them to relate when it's very new. But I noticed that in general people are interested. And I was thinking a business card at around 1,000 pieces, about 4 cents per card. If I print maybe 5,000 pieces, I can get it maybe down to 2.5 cents, or who knows. I have to try different suppliers. And then I was like, why try to grow it on YouTube instead of changing the content in order to maybe go viral? I was like, why don't I print as many cards as possible and then just go on the street and speak to as many people as I can during the day, giving the cards to them. It's kind of like an organic way to grow. And I think I'm going to do this because it will be an interesting challenge to just like talk to people, always have like a stack of 200 cards in my pocket. And then because right now when I spoke to people, it was more like organic feeling that I wanted to speak to them, but I could just go from person to person, and it would be a super interesting challenge because I've never had a job like this, like for example giving out flyers or something. So it would be interesting to, let's say, go into the city just giving the cards to everyone, and I think every second person would subscribe if they know English. So that would make it 10 cents per subscriber, which would be 1,000 subscribers would be 100 euros, which is nothing. So I could easily get 10,000 subscribers for 1,000 euros, or 100,000 subscribers for 10,000 euros. That would be actually, but of course there's a physical limit to how much cards you can give out. But then I thought, maybe I could hire some kids or something that do this for me, because that would be really interesting. It would be an interesting challenge for 2026. So, because I'm not a big fan of growing on the platforms themselves, because then you need to change the content. You need to be like dramatic, polarizing, etc. and so forth. And that's just not my style. So, see you soon.